Hello.
Hey everyone. So
Hello,
we
everybody.
decided that we were going to do an impromptu live today because right now it's the morning time in the US on a Sunday. So this is going to be a little bit of a different time frame for some people. But
Yeah.
anyways, the topic that I keep getting asked about since the last live that I did is why did we move to Zaragoza? And can you go get the computer charger over there?
Yeah.
Sorry, like I said, it was impromptu, spontaneous, impulsive. Don't even have the computer plugged in the right way. But anyways, first I'm going to go through why we decided to move to Zaragoza when we originally came to. And if you're joining, you can say hi in the comments in the chat so we can say hi to you.
Say hi.
Here, you're going to have to go plug this in over there
Okay,
on the
right
wall over there.
I see
So
one
why we moved to Zaragoza when we first came to Spain from Mexico, and then why we came back to Zaragoza after we had lived in Spain for 3 years, and we circled back around and came to Zaragoza. We did that because of what we had learned in the process of getting here. So yeah, I have it set up to where you can only comment if you're a subscriber.
Hello.
So you subscribe and then you wait 1 minute and then you can chat. Okay. So we moved to Spain from Mexico. And when we were moving here, we came without ever being in Spain before. During the pandemic with 2 kids. He was 4.5, and then we had an 11-month-old.
Yeah.
We did that because we chose Zaragoza basically because my husband had some family here, and they said it had a low cost of living. It had a decent climate. Remember, they're from Honduras. I know that Spanish people don't think the climate here is wonderful, but we actually generally like the climate here. And all the Americans that I know don't hate the climate in Zaragoza. Can you go close the door? So my husband had family here. We were told the weather was fine. The cost of living was good. And the city was in between Barcelona and Madrid. So we were like, sounds good to us, you know? We can go there. We could. Jonas, you have to stop. You can't be making so much noise. I'm serious.
One like.
So we came here for that reason, with him as a baby and with him as a 4-year-old. Okay. Obviously, this one did not
when we moved here, I wasn't a 4-year-old. I was 7.
Oh yeah, you were 7. That's right. I'm sorry. We got to Mexico when he was 4. We got here when he was 7. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so a 7-year-old and an almost 1-year-old. My bad. Now, we stayed here for 8 months in Zaragoza, and it was during the pandemic. And to be honest with you, I didn't really like it that much. It was very windy, cold. It was in April of 2021, and there was nothing going on. I didn't have a good level of Spanish, which you kind of need to be here at that time. And he was in a school, a private school, that we went from like April. He didn't enroll in school until September. So we had that 2 months of not going to school. And so he had a hard time at the school. So eventually we ended up leaving at the 8-month mark, and we went to Murcia. And we lived there because there was a school there that they were approved for online. So they were a Montessori school, but it was really more like a democratic school. They didn't make him go every day. And we liked that. It was a registered school, which is what we needed for our visa. So we continued just homeschooling at home and then letting him go there once or twice a week. And then that lasted for over a year. But in the summer, we moved there in 2021 December. Like 9 months after we got there, they shut the school, lost their registration. And so then we were going to an unregistered school, and we were on a visa, and we needed to be at a registered school. So we then moved to Madrid because we felt that there would be more school options there. There was more higher level of English, and I didn't have still a great Spanish level at that time in Murcia. And it was closer to the airport. That we had a hard time traveling from Murcia.
In Murcia, one thing that I remember about that place is that it was like they didn't have that much stuff. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but what I did like about there is there wasn't that much noise, and also you had a lot of garden space.
We lived outside of the city.
Garden space.
We lived outside of the city, so there wasn't
garden
noise
space.
according
I
to
like
you.
plants.
Yeah, he had a little yard. So yes, we had a townhome. We lived in El Puntal. So anyways, eventually we moved to Madrid. And the reason we did that was because we needed more varieties of schools. We also were still kind of trying to home educate in Spain, which is very difficult to do, but we were managing it around our visa. And we were also managing it by traveling a lot outside of the country. But eventually, after being in Madrid for 3 months, this one decided that he wanted to put down some roots, have some stability, not be traveling all the time, not be going and seeing things, but he wanted to really, he wanted to plug into the culture, to the society. He wanted to be in a group situation. Like he wanted to try to go to school, to really make friends and build community. So we respected that. And we enrolled him in a school full time. In Madrid, most of the schools go until 5 o'clock. We found the earliest school that we could, which got out at 4:30.
Yeah, and
he was at the British school till that got out at 4:30. So they went from 9 to 4:30 p.m. And then he wasn't really, it was a British school, right? So he wasn't really learning the Spanish language well. And we had already lived here for about, what was it like by that time, 2 years. And he wasn't catching the language very well, Castellano. And your brother wanted to start school, so we switched to Spanish Concertado.
yeah,
And there they had an aula de enlace where they helped him with the language. He was 9 years old. He could understand Spanish, but he
Yeah.
wasn't speaking it fluently in conversation with his friends. Everyone said at the British school that he would get the language. He would get the language at PE, he would get the language at patio time, he would get the language at lunch, but he didn't because all of the kids also spoke English and they knew that he spoke English. So they just went to
They
him and
spoke
started
English
speaking
to me.
English. If anybody here has kids who speak English, they always say, go speak English with that kid. But whereas we're like, no way, our kid needs to learn Spanish. Don't speak English with our kid. So eventually, that wasn't working for us. And so we went to the Concertado. Well, the problem with the Concertado was that he was then in school from 9 o'clock in the morning until 5:30. And then when he would have an extracurricular, it would be 2 hours later until 7 or 7:30. And that's a really long day at school. And not only that, he would get out in the middle of the day for 2 hours, which is common here. There's two different types of schools here. You can go all day from around 9 to 2, or you can go for a longer day.
Like some kids that I know, like from my school that I go to now, they say that before they were at my school, that before when they were in another school, they used to get to school at 8 o'clock, and then leave at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so the kids go to school for a long time. The school's open for a long time. So we didn't want him to be going to school from 9 to 5:30. And some of the schools go from 9 to 4:30 or 5. Then they have a break in the middle. It's called Jornada Partido, I believe. And they have a break in the middle. So they go for one part of the day, and then they have a break for 2 to 3 hours, depending on the school. And then they go for the second part of the day. And the whole leaving school and going back thing wasn't working for us. It caused a lot of stress. And then also, we didn't like him being at school for so long. Obviously, we have a history of home education. So that just kind of goes against it. Like putting your kid in school for all these hours in a day goes against homeschooling, right?
Yeah.
Homeschooling is like you want your family to be together. You want to educate together. You want to be doing all these different things as a family unit, not sending them off to someone else to take care of them. Or, in my opinion, it's like someone else is raising your kid. So that brings me to why we decided to come to Zaragoza. Zaragoza has a lot of schools that are jornada continua, which means they go from 9 to 2. So that's just a 5-hour class day, and then your kid can get out of school. And they have a lot of schools that are like that. And they have a lot private schools and public schools and concertados that are like this. There is a whole group of parents here whose whole mission is to make as many schools as they can to be this shorter class day.
Yeah.
So we came here because they had a lot of schools that were on jornada continua. They also start French here in the 5th grade or earlier. Most of the schools start French or German in the 5th grade or earlier, whereas in Madrid, they do not start the foreign language until ESO, and ESO is 7th grade here. So we wanted the extra language in the schools because our kids already know English. They were learning Spanish at school, and then they needed another language. So the kids who are Spanish, they go to school and they learn their second language, which is English, because we already had our kids knowing English and they were getting Spanish at school like all the other kids were. We needed our quote unquote second language, which for our kids would be a third language. And so the options are here normally French or German.
Yeah, and for me, my fourth language, I would say, is French. Well, first is English, second is Spanish, third, German, fourth, French.
That you like.
Yeah.
Okay. So in Aragon, they normally start the third language, French or German, in the 5th grade or sooner. Some schools here even have it in infantil, which is preschool. So we like that a lot. We had that access. A lot of shorter class days here, a lot of different schools to choose from who have that option. He's waving to anyone.
Yeah, because I just saw, 2 more people. Good job. Hello.
Yay.
Hey. Hi, guys. I am from Zaragoza. So glad you guys are so happy living here. Hello. Hello.
Okay, he loves it here. Okay, tranquilo. Okay, I can't focus when you're doing all of this, like, stuff in the background. Okay, so I said the short class day and I said the French. Now, the next thing is going to be the religion, okay? In Madrid, all of the schools, except for public schools, because that's publicly funded 100%, okay? So they have to meet different criteria, which just, I think, in the last few years, I don't know when, okay? Someone tell me, because I don't know when. But in recent history, okay, they stopped enforcing in public schools the teaching of Catholicism, the symbols, all of that. Nothing against like people's faith, okay, but we're not Catholic. And so, and it's really a huge culture shock when you come here and you see all the religious stuff in the schools. Like that's a whole nother thing to like have to get over when you get here, because we don't have that in the US unless you're actually going to specifically a religious school. But here it's hard to get away from. So in the concertado that they were going to in Madrid, the way it worked in Madrid was if you didn't want your kid to go to any type of religion at school, you had to put them in a public school, or you had to find a secular concertado or some other type of secular public private school and pay a lot of money for it. So they don't have anything that makes the school say you have to give other choices to the kids. They say it's up to the school what you do. So most of the schools say, well, you're like the only kid here who doesn't practice Catholicism and whose parents don't want them to participate. So, you know, he would still have to do a lot of the things. He would sit in the back of the service that they had. But so we wanted him to just not have to do that stuff because it made him uncomfortable.
Yeah,
It made us uncomfortable. So we came here because in Aragon, all of the schools, public or private, the concertados or public schools, not private, okay? I'm talking about concertados or public schools. They all have to give the option to an alternative to Catholicism. So you can go to Catholic class. You can go to evangelical class. Some of the schools even have Judaism, is the Islamic Muslim class. And then they have the social science, is that what it's called? Sociales. Oh no, civics. That's what it's called. Civics is the like general class, you know, where you learn your this is right, this is wrong, just general like studies, nothing specific to a religion. That's in Aragon, where every single school that's not private has to give you those choices. So like the first school that he ever went to here was a public school, and they gave us an application, and on there it said, do you want your kid to be in Catholic class or evangelical class or this class or that class or civics class? Okay. And then the next school we went to was actually just a secular concertado. And so they didn't have that because they didn't have any religion, but there was no forcing you to go into Catholic class or making you feel uncomfortable because you don't practice Catholicism, right? So we liked that we would have that choice when we came to Aragon. Why are you doing that?
Because they just lost to.
Yes, you do have more
Views.
choices here. Yes, in this region. Not all regions in Spain are the same. That's something that's also hard to adapt to when you get here, because depending on what country you come to, there may be, like, for me, I feel like in my country, there's a set of criteria that every school is meeting. There may be some variations to the states, but generally you can expect like neurodivergence to be treated a certain way. You can expect religion to be treated a certain way. You can expect teachers to be interacting with the students in a certain way. You can expect for the response to teachers who are not doing their job well to be handled in a certain way. And that doesn't happen here in the same way. So the culture of education when you come here is a huge part of the iceberg and of adaptation. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I have maybe a little beef in my last 4 years with education here, because we've had a lot of different issues that have come up. I don't know why, but it's just like the situations that we've been in.
Oh yeah, and one thing about the religion classes and opting out is that I remember whenever we used to have religion class, that they would take me to the back of the chapel thing that they were in, and then the other kids would be like, come over with us, come over," and I
Yeah, you
would be
felt
like,
a lot
"I
of
can't."
pressure.
And it was like, I don't know, the 2 5th grade classes, like 50 kids in total, being like, "Come with us."
Yeah, you felt a lot of pressure to do something that you didn't really want to do. So that was for us 2 of the main things. The other thing was the cost of living in Madrid is not sustainable. It was not sustainable for us. Don't get me wrong, it's a great city to live in, but what we're paying in rent there is more than 1,500 euros more than what we pay here, which is almost double our current rent. So, and then we had a heating bill. Then we had a heating bill, which during the winter would be 300 or 400 euros a month, which we've never had here, because here we have heat included in our rent. And when we moved here initially for the first 8 months of our Spanish life, we also had heat included in the rent. So I don't think that's that uncommon to have. The greatest adjustment to the heating situation is learning what central heat means. And if you don't know this, in the United States, we have central AC and central heat, central air conditioning and central heat. That means that you control your heating and air conditioning in your home only, and it's centralized in your home. Here, if it's central, that means it's going through the whole building. So the whole building has something to do with your heat, or you're paying for, someone else is controlling it, basically. You're not controlling it, or it's included.
Comment.
What are the other main differences you've found between in the States and Zaragoza?
Safety, community, because you don't go walking by a stranger and you're like, "Oh, hi," and
Yes.
they're exactly the same, and you've never ever seen them in your life, and you live on 2 different separate sides of the city.
In the United States, I tell you, don't make eye contact with people. I tell you, don't make eye contact with people that you walk by. Avoid eye contact. You don't want to make eye contact with people, because they, in the United States, will think, what do they want from me? What do they want from me? What are they trying to do to me? They're going to hurt me. You start thinking, why are they looking at me? People are paranoid. And that's like a question.
I remember when my grandparents here, my grandma and my
your great grandma and your grandma, your bisabuela and your abuela.
And we were in Madrid, and I was just walking to a China store or to school.
A bazaar.
Yeah. And we walked by a stranger, and I was just like, hola. And they also said hola to me. And then they said it to my grandma and my great grandma. And they were like, why are they trying to talk to you? The eye contact.
Yes, when they were here, it was interesting to see.
Do you know those people? And I'm like, no. Oh, look, 5 more views.
You are. Calm down, Chico. Calm down. Yes, the eye contact is, and what else, not to stop at the eye contact, because even more so is the physical contact. People expect a kiss, and in the US, you don't even give a stranger a hug, much less someone a kiss. And it's not just like, a lot of times it's not just the cheek, but it's also like the the sound that they do in your ear. They do the sound in your ear, so it's not just
In
the
Dublin, they were
kiss. It's not just
reacting the
like, you know.
same. Like, what do you want?
Yeah,
I've
that's
been to Dublin.
when
We've
people
been to
look at
Dublin.
you in Ireland. Probably we have a lot in common, America and the United States and Ireland. We probably have a lot in common culturally, I've heard, but I don't know. We've only been there once for a very short amount of time.
Yeah,
and
we left because
it
of
was
the
so
rain.
cold. And Ireland is always on our list of places that we would move to if Spain doesn't work out. But hopefully Spain will work out. It's just that, you know, when you're in our situation, you never know what's going to fall through or what's going to happen. And so it's like, even though we like living here, like we don't have like permanent roots of like family being here, you know?
Yeah.
So,
like we have cousins here, but that's it.
Yeah, a few cousins. They're distant cousins, really, and we don't really see them too much.
We lost 2 views.
Will you stop?
A very special person from Arkansas is coming here
you don't even know how to
visit
say
me.
He doesn't know how to
What
say it.
advice would you give him as an American?
First of all, I need to teach you how to say Arkansas.
Oh.
Okay, it's not
Okay,
Arkansas.
so what I would give for advice is don't be scared if somebody comes up to you and says hola. Don't be like
eat some jamon.
Yes, eat jamon serrano. You do it. Tell them to do it, or I'm gonna come and get them. Spoon, force feed them into.
Oh, come on. Oh, it's funny. Eat some jamon serrano and learn some Spanish.
Learn Spanish before you come.
And be welcoming to,
and go to
learn about the culture. Learn about the culture.
Go see Plaza de Pilar on the weekends. Tell them that. Go see Plaza de Pilar on the weekends, because then it will be like crowds.
And Huslebol also is the nature side of things. That's really fun. You can go on that little train out from Carrefour. Yes. The language. Yeah.
Okay, then try learning.
There's a podcast called Coffee Break Spanish, and it does 15 to 20 minute podcast lessons. Yeah, but I don't really like Duolingo.
And also OutSchool. You could try OutSchool.
That's a little too much, but Coffee Break Spanish, you can just listen in the car while you're going to work or something like that.
I remember that.
And get some, I used to use it all the time. That was my first way of learning Spanish, was listening to Coffee Break Spanish in the United States. Okay. So then I've told you why we initially came to Zaragoza, and I've told you why we left and went to the other 2 cities. And then I've told you, is it on YouTube? Coffee Break Spanish is just a podcast like on Spotify or Apple Podcast. Is it Spotify? Is that one of the things?
Spotify.
You know what I'm talking about, the podcast.
Thing, I think Spotify is internet.
I don't know. I don't
know. Tell me in the comments. Tell me. Correct me.
No, I'm trying to answer the question about Coffee Break Spanish. You can go to their website because they also have.
I see a view. Somebody else. Hello.
This kid is.
Greetings.
This kid is killing me.
Another one.
Oh
hello. One more person. Views. Yay.
He would love for you to say hi and like where you're at. It would maybe help him relax a little bit. Your eyes are like gonna pop out.
Okay, whoever you are that is out there, the 2 of you, view 6 and 7. I would like you to subscribe to be able to comment. Okay. Please. Now.
Okay, so my next little segment, part 3, because I know you're like, wow, this kid, I raised a kid that acts like this. I mean, what?
You have 50 seconds.
Oh
49.
Gosh. Calm
48.
Down. So I'm going to talk about why I think Zaragoza is a good place to live for you.
Oh, okay. What is that?
Not because all of our experiences are different. And some of the reasons that we moved, the specifics that brought us to Zaragoza in the beginning and then ultimately brought us back to Zaragoza are specific to us. But there are reasons that I know of that other Americans like Zaragoza and maybe other people from other countries. I had to talk to him in sign language to get him to stop a little bit. If you don't know, in American Sign Language, this means stop. Okay. I also speak a little bit of sign language. Okay. So
I will send him the live stream to join us.
Yay. Okay.
Okay. And also please tell him to subscribe and to comment so that I can say hi.
Okay, got to calm down. Okay, so on my website, I already wrote this. So if you see me looking at to my right or to your left, I don't know which one it is, but I have my website up where I've already made my list here. So I'm just going to reference my list so that I don't have to think about it. So I say this in some of my other videos that Zaragoza it's a small city, on the map, it's compact, it's small. Also, you have this community feel that
We have another view. Hello.
Will you please? Seriously.
Well, I want to say hi to everyone.
You keep interrupting me.
Every person that is a view.
Well, you need a sign. Just go make a sign.
Okay.
And every time someone comes, you can just say it like that instead of interrupting me. Okay. So it's a compact city, space-wise. You can walk across it, really like maybe an hour and a half. What do you guys think? Sometimes it's even faster just to walk to where you're going instead of taking the bus, literally. Like 15 minutes on the bus or 15-minute walk, you just walk. But the thing is that even though the city is compact, there literally is everything here. There's always something going on. And you also have this amazing community feel where the more you get involved in things, the more you get to know people. It's a very friendly city. Like the people here are known for being friendly and welcoming and helpful. So you get to know people. Like when I went to the DGT 2 days ago, I literally saw 2 people that I know. One I saw from my kids' school, and the other one was someone that I know that I met through Instagram, but actually have seen her in person and met her in person, So I saw 2 people. That's from two different, areas of my life where I saw people. Sí.
Yeah,
Eres un maño también.
Moverse, moverse. Hello, new viewer. Okay,
okay. So the fact that it's a compact city with a lot going on, a lot of access. I mean, when we lived in Madrid, sure, there were tons of activities, but oh my gosh, hola.
Hello, are you the
agent TDM? I don't know. Let them say agent? Where they're at or give something.
Hello.
Oh yes, Mark. Okay. So in Madrid, we would have to we want to go do an activity. So we have to go take the metro, 2 or 3 metros, 45 minutes, 1 hour later, get there, do it, battling the crowds. It's exhausting. It was fun and exhilarating, but also it's exhausting. Here, if there's something going on, it's just like, oh, we found out about something. Let's go, 15-minute walk and we're there, 10-minute walk and we're there. Oh, we don't have anything to do today. Let's just go take a 10-minute walk and we'll find something to do. And you have no idea what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Tons of my content on YouTube comes from, I had no idea I was going to be doing this. Here I am, and I just start recording it. It's not like I'm planning different things. So we like that. It's like a major city, but it's small, and it has this great community feel that we really feel like, we can plug in here, and it feels more like home, not like we're just treading water all the time with chaos. Okay, so the public transportation for us, I know that some of the locals complain about it, but let's remember, I'm from the United States. And we're car dependent. Most people have 2 or 3 cars at a minimum, maybe even a motorcycle or a boat. So you can't just walk out of your house and go somewhere in 10 minutes usually and find something new and exciting to do. Yeah. You can do that here. So we like that. But also the public transportation is what I was saying. He got me off track with this sign thing. The public transportation is reliable. So we don't need a car here in the city. And we can just go out, get on the bus, go somewhere. There's multiple. I mean, we must have like 15 different bus lines that come through the center where we live. So it's really reliable. It's clean. It's efficient, and it's affordable. The cards for under 5s are free, and then there's a discount. How that goes with having to have a car. I go anywhere here in the States. Yes, actually, somebody sent me a question yesterday on Instagram, and they could not believe it. They had found an article, or they had seen a reel that was done by a Spanish person, and they were talking about how car dependent people in the U.S. are and how hard we find it to have an opportunity to walk, that we can't even get like 3,000 steps a day. Whereas here you easily, You
I
know,
remember once
if
under
you walk to school and then like one other activity in the day, so maybe you take 3 or 4 trips on foot, just 15 minutes, and you're already at 15,000 steps here. I mean, it's my first week of life in Spain. I have it written down. I was just like totally exhausted from all the walking.
yeah.
But now I could walk everywhere. You know, it doesn't matter. My body is adapted to all of the walking.
I remember one thing that happened on one day a long time ago that I remember, and that it was in Murcia, where we were.
Do you
were
like how
on,
he says that? Say it again.
Murcia?
There you go.
Anyways,
Castellano.
so basically, I saw her watch. You showed it to me,
Uh-huh.
and it said 43,703 steps today.
43. No, there's no way that I had 43. Maybe in a week. Okay, dude.
Oh,
There's no way I had
perfect.
43,000
The
steps.
comment says perfect.
No.
Perfect.
So good transportation, compact city, lots of going on. Everything you need is here. That's my number 3 thing on my website. There's a low cost of living here in comparison to other cities in Spain. Not only that, but on the side of the whole economy thing, the cost of living, Aragon is a growing economy. You can look it up. I did a video about this too, because I noticed that certain things that I was raised being told by my dad, this is a sign of a strong economy. If you see construction, if you see job signs, you know, and I see all of this stuff. I see that stuff happening here. I see advertisements on in windows, online, on Instagram, social media of people looking for workers. It might be in a bakery, a restaurant, whatever, but still, those are the types of little jobs that you know, kind of like anybody can go to entry level position work.
Yeah.
But then there's also, I've been told through comments on YouTube that there are a lot of jobs here that are for people who've been technically trained, which is in the schooling here, you have the option to do the technical training after 10th grade. You don't have to go for the university route. So I know we have that deficit in the United States where we don't have a lot of the tech training in high school anymore, but here they still have it. And those types of jobs are also available here. And so, not so now, you know, now I'm more optimistic about the economy and the future jobs in this region and than I was when I first got here, because when I first got here, everything that I knew was just based on hearsay. Okay, I didn't have experience with seeing things and knowing things and understanding the language and everything else. So now I'm able to talk to more people, see more things. I read more stuff on the news, listen to more stuff on the news, read more articles, and I know that I made a YouTube video about the economy of Aragon and what I thought that was that you know, they have bringing in a lot of tech stuff. This is good for the potential of needing a work visa, that people who are here who are trained in technology actually have the possibility of being higher earners, according to this article that was written locally. Because they're in such high demand, there's not a lot of competition for this type of employee who knows how to do like websites or SEO and stuff like that. So they're able to jump around from job to job, and employers are offering them higher levels of income. So they're able to get higher level jobs. So to make more money, you know what I mean? Like build your career. And so I think now not only is the cost of living lower here than it is in a lot of other Spanish cities. You know, remember, Zaragoza is in the top 4 or 5th biggest city in Spain, depending on what rating you look at and whether or not you ask the mayor, Natalia Chueca, or the Seville mayor.
Yeah.
The people in Seville think that they're number 4, and Zaragoza thinks that we're number 4.
One question that I have about Zaragoza that isn't related to this, but I've been wondering for the last hour is how many like plazas are there in Spain? Like castles, you know, like Plaza de Pilar, Plaza de España, in Zaragoza.
How many
Anybody
plazas?
comments?
Well, gosh, Josiah.
Comments?
Every
like
glorieta is called plaza, so it's a lot.
Yeah, like Plaza de Pilar, Plaza de España.
I also think that Zaragoza is a typical Spanish city, which is really good for integration. If you want to come and know the Spanish culture, know the Spanish food, the language, you need to be in a city where you're going to be exposed to those things. And then also, because people are friendly here, you're welcome into different situations, restaurants, groups, so that you can learn what something is, learn what it tastes like, what's it for, what's it called, and try it. So and you can get to know Spain well through a Spanish city that's not been overrun by tourism or foreigners. Okay, so yes, and I've already said friendly, which is my number 6, and there's lots to do here. We think that the weather is tolerable. We think that all the good things that I've already mentioned overpower the negative of a really hot August. Lots of cities in Spain have really hot August, okay?
Yeah,
And you saw that we survived this year. We went to the swimming pool. And other people go to the beach. They go to northern Spain. Spanish people, lots of times, they travel within the country and go up to the northern coast of Spain where it's cool.
One thing about the weather, for Mark, because you'll be coming to here to Spain.
11 to 13 main plazas.
Okay, thanks.
I love how people here know amazing, interesting facts about the city.
One thing that I have for Mark is that when you come here, if you come to Spain, to Zaragoza,
Yes.
because I remember how it was hot the other day, and then the next day it was rainy, cold, and windy. So if I were to come, I would bring like 3 pairs, depending on how long you're staying. Like bring like short sleeves and shorts, and on other days bring like a jacket and long sleeves and
a
pants.
thin fleece jacket is fine here, and it packs well and folds easily.
We
also have the fast train here, and then the airport. So the fast train is well connected between Barcelona and Madrid. They are starting. He's coming to El Pilar. Yeah.
He's coming to El Pilar. Yay.
Oh, in October?
Oh,
is that what you mean? Pilares?
Pilares? Do you mean like Pilares or just like?
Or to Plaza Pilar?
Maybe we can meet them. Contact on Instagram.
Oh my gosh. You never know what kids are gonna say. Okay. So man, you're making me okay. So the fast train.
So Pilar.
Yes.
Pilar.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Pilar Festival in October.
Pilar Festival in October.
Yes. Okay. So that's going to be amazing cultural experience. Let me tell you. We just had our first one in October. Fiestas del Pilar. Yes, we just had our first one. Okay, so yeah, that was crazy. And that was before I started my Zaragoza-centric YouTubing. Okay, before that, I was just kind of posting whatever. But I started focusing on Zaragoza because Zaragoza doesn't get enough attention in the groups, the foreigner groups. Nobody knows about Zaragoza, or they know about it, but they shun her because of the wind and the hot August. So I have to stand up for her a little bit, and I'm sorry if people don't like that. Okay. So the fast train is well connected here. So to get to Barcelona or Madrid, it's like an hour and a half from Zaragoza to Barcelona and an hour and a half from Zaragoza to Madrid. So some people, I mean, hypothetically, you could live here and you could work in one of those two cities if you didn't mind that commute. And
you're welcome.
And then also there are slow trains that go to other places. In the fast train, you can still get to like Valencia through Madrid. You can get to other cities in Spain. They're starting a direct route to Seville, so you no longer have to go to Madrid and switch to get to Seville. So that's going to be even faster. So they're doing more connections. They have the airport here, which you can go to Italy. You can go to Paris. I mean, been there, like we've done all of this. Okay. You can get to all of these places, all these different places from the little airport that's in Zaragoza. You take the bus right out of the center, and you ride 30 minutes on the bus to the airport. You take the plane there to wherever it is that you want to go, Morocco, all kinds of places. Sometimes they change the routes during the year. So like if it's not popular to go to a certain place at certain times of the year, they won't have that route then. But generally, like I think that there's plenty of choices here that you don't have to go to Madrid or Barcelona to use the airport. You could do trips from here into other places in Europe and Northern Africa. And maybe even, I mean, I think also you could probably go to Turkey.
Yeah, maybe Morocco. Oh yeah, and if you're looking for a beach, if you want to go to the beach, I'm talking to you, Mark. If you want to go to the beach, and all the other 4 viewers, if you want to go to the beach when you come here to Zaragoza, then go to Mallorca, Tenerife. So
on an airplane?
Yes.
Because the closest beach to here is like going to Barcelona or Tarragona on the train. It's like 45 minutes on the fast train. Okay. You know what you're talking about, but also like you think it would be a good
because
short flight to Mallorca, because you really like the beaches in Mallorca.
yeah, you could like if you're trying to come here to what do you call it, Zaragoza, then maybe afterwards you could take a flight to Mallorca or Tenerife.
You have the accent down.
I do.
Yes, I think so. Okay, so my last point is, if you've lived abroad for a while or you've never lived abroad, then you may not know this. If you've been out a while, then you do know this.
On this trip, it will be just Madrid and Zaragoza at the moment. But we will take note on this.
We'll take a note.
If you're going to Madrid, you should go see Estadio Santiago Bernabeu up near viewer.
Or you should go to the stadium, the football stadium.
Yeah. Maybe you could go watch Madrid
they have a Subway. They have a Subway sandwich shop by the stadium.
You could go to Santiago Bernabeu. Go to El Centro.
The park.
Sorry for my English, guys. Your English is fine. Sorry for my English, guys. Your English is fine.
Okay. So as I was trying to say before I got interrupted, like all parents get interrupted, I have lived outside of my country for 6 years, and in almost every city that I've lived in, people come and go. They come and go. It's like you build a friendship and then they're gone. They leave. Their job takes them away. Their spouse takes them away. The pandemic takes them away. Something takes them away, and they're no longer here anymore. And it's like you have to start over with finding friends and finding community. But in Zaragoza, I have found that because most of the foreigners who are here are married to Spanish people. Sorry, I know some people don't like the word Spaniard, so I try not to use it. People? But I made the mistake just now of saying Spaniard, and I've been told not to say that. So sorry. Most people who are here are married to have a Spanish spouse or maybe another EU spouse, but either way, they're here, like they've been here, for a decade. And they don't see themselves leaving, and they're staying here for a long time. They're here, like they're putting down roots here. They're not coming here just to work a 2-year job and leave. This is not really an international city. This is a city where people come and live, They come here to learn Spanish. They come here because they're married. They come here because they have family here. They come here to stay. And I think that that's good. It gives you a sense of security when you come here and you're building community and relationships, and you're trying to rebuild your life from where you were, because you do have to start over. Not only do you need furniture and pots and pans, but let's be honest, you need friends, right? Yeah. And so you have to find
the Spaniard word. I don't mind.
In case people are watching who don't know, I didn't know this, but some people view the word Spaniard as the same way that we view the N word in the United States. So, but not everybody feels that way. And so I just try to be respectful that some people do. And so you have German in 30 minutes.
I do.
Yeah. So I try not to say it, but sometimes I slip up. Yeah. But anyway, so those are my things. Okay. I think I've explained well why we live here. We do feel like, this is home. Like, I feel like this is like my adopted city, and that generally, like, there are some negative people who come at me through social media. But as far as the people from Zaragoza, like, people know me from social media, and they see me outside and they say hi to me, and they're super friendly. And I don't feel like unwelcome at all. And so and even before I was doing this whole like YouTube, Instagram thing, I did not feel rejected, So if everyone's always been nice to us, even when we were here the first 8 months, as far as just like, basic interactions with people. No one was ever mean or rude to us. There's not like a big negative, like loud protest culture here against foreigners. Yeah. And so there's respect for, like, people have different situations. And, like in our situation, like, yeah, I'm American, but like we didn't come here from the United States, and one of my kids has never even lived there. So my kids know on paper that they're American, but actually they don't feel like American like I feel American. I think they feel more like Spanish or Mexican. What do you do?
I feel Maño.
So there you go. And so people appreciate it. Yes. I think that people here appreciate that everybody has a diversity of backgrounds, and that actually different people can influence things in a positive way sometimes. So anyways, thank you for joining us. And
see you later.
hang on. I have to
There's a comment. Ay, que mágico. Oh, what magic.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, that's what that means, I think.
Yeah.
And that not doing a direct translation, but like that's incredible, amazing, you know. I'm gonna do a little self-promo because I am trying to grow my channel here. So yes, please subscribe to my channel. I have to directly ask, or I'm not doing this right. I have to directly ask and to like the video. And anytime you have any questions, feel free to ask, you know, and then I can do a live and answer your questions. This was a question that I've gotten on Instagram 2 or 3 times in the last week, or not on Instagram, sorry, on YouTube. So I wanted to come on here and answer it instead of making like a video and I have to like edit it and all this other stuff. He likes to do this, as you can tell. So I was just like, let's just do it. We have the time and we're not doing anything else. Yeah. Like I was saying, ask me the questions, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. If you happen to be watching this after the live and you come and watch it, you know, outside of the live time, you can post questions in the community board thing where you can comment questions, or you can put it on a video and then I can answer it here. Yeah. All right, so thank you, and maybe I can do this again if you hit me with some questions. Subscribe, like, all of that. I need more watch time. I need like 1,000 more hours of watch time so that I can eventually monetize, because yeah, it takes a lot of time and I give a lot of information, right? So that's what I'm wanting is to get to that level. So thank you, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Goodbye.